crossing over can be scary. Crossing over can be very scary, not because of the movement piece. It's because of the middle. Crossing over is not scary because of where you are, and not even because of the vision that you may have or may not have of where you're going. Crossing over is scary because of the middle. You ever been in the middle? You ever been too far out from where you left, but not really close enough to where you're going?
Amen.
Get a little scary in the middle.
Yes.
When you leave one side behind, it seems, to venture out into a new side of things or to the other side of things, oftentimes you also leave people. Leaving people can be scary. How many of you all have ever felt alone? Oh, come on. How many of you all have felt alone and you married and got a whole rack of people in your house? Being alone is not based upon how many people you have around you. Being alone is when the inside of you reaches to do more and reaches to expand. Being alone is when you have a goal and vision that nobody else can comprehend. Being alone is when you have certain feelings and emotions that you can't even explain to somebody else and they just don't seem to get it. And you sit there with those thoughts and those hopes and those dreams and you sit there doing all this in your mind, and no matter how many times you try to explain it, they just don't get it. They go on with life smiling and laughing and with joy, and you're sitting there with all these things on your mind thinking, what in the world is something going to change for me? As soon as you get up from that other side and begin to at least get to the middle. Being in the middle can be uncomfortable because you're adding elements from your past and you haven't yet relieved them in order to go into your future. So being in the middle is sometimes uncomfortable because no matter how hard I try, I was born and raised in Southeast DC, that's not going to change. And I don't care how many big people I get around and how many times I try to make sure I don't leave the endings off of my words. Southeast is still in here. Y'all don't hear me. It's still in here. So in being in the middle of where I used to be and where God is taking me, it doesn't mean that I've lost the thing. Y'all gotta listen to me. It doesn't mean really that you lost something, but the enemy will trick you into thinking on your road to here, every now and then you'll want to look back and say, I feel like I'm losing something. I feel like I'm losing myself. Come on, I know I'm speaking to some mama in this place. If you ain't never felt like you were losing yourself when you juggling jobs and careers and kids and all of that, you start to feel like maybe I'm losing a piece of me, and you look back and you're so far from where you used to be, and you want to celebrate that, but there's some fear in that because I'm losing that, but am I losing me? And you're trying to make sure that in my road to become what God has for me to become, I don't lose every bit of myself. And so hold up. Y'all remember that song? It's about the work when they get over there.